If you're new here, I'm Leslie Wells, connection coach, and we've been talking a little bit lately about the different 5 stages of relationship by Susan Campbell. So I'm going to talk today about start talking about the insecure attachments and how they move through the stages of relationships and not necessarily as well or as quickly or as efficiently as securely attached people do. So we'll start with the anxious preoccupied. Anxious preoccupied individuals typically start a new relationship with intense infatuation and really want to move things along quickly. They will typically overlook red flags, and they will want a lot of emotional and physical closeness and connection with their partner quickly. They may want to spend more time with their partner than their partner initially wants to spend with them. They may want to introduce them to other family members and friends quickly. They may want a relationship status earlier on. They really want to move things along quickly. When their partner is not with them, they will oftentimes feel anxiety, and they will draw a lot of deeper meaning from the behaviors, actions, words, body language of their partner, which can create a lot of anxiety for them as well. So this may be the individual who, even though you've only gone on 1 or 2 dates, is already being a little bit more vulnerable, oversharing, wanting to spend too much time with you that maybe you're not ready for yet, not wanting quite as much space as a lot of people would prefer in a new relationship, overlooking those red flags, and someone who doesn't really like to be without you, even though you just are starting to see each other. So they might be the person that is calling a lot, texting a lot, just really moving the relationship along fast and really becoming too close too fast. The power struggle stage is where you're really going to see the anxiety, the abandonment, and rejection fears come out in the anxious preoccupied. So this is whenever conflict comes up, they're going to automatically start feeling triggered in their anxiety and worried about the relationship ending. So they're not going to resolve conflict well necessarily. They're going to get anxious. They're going to want it fixed immediately. They may not allow for space during that time for their partner to self-regulate, but they're going to just get very anxious if there's any conflict that comes up. You're going to see a lot of hypervigilance. They're going to be very attuned and very triggered by different changes in your body language. Maybe you're becoming a little more distant just because you need some time, or maybe you're going through your own things. But any changes in your tone, body language, behavior, they're going to be very attuned to, and they're going to give deeper meaning to it. Not necessarily meaning that is accurate. They're also going to need lots and lots of validation and constant reassurance. Remember, they get most of their worth from their relationship. And so they're going to constantly need you to do that for them. They're going to be hyper-focused on their own needs and the lack of needs that are being met or their needs that are not being met. So it comes across as being a little bit self-centered, but they're so concerned about not having their own needs met, remember that abandonment, that they're not necessarily going to be paying attention to their partner's needs, but more focused on their own needs. They may start to use manipulation and control tactics to change their partner, to fix their partner, to create in their partner somebody who feels safer to them so they don't have to worry about being abandoned or rejected. They may start to become a little bit critical and feel resentment when they start to tell themselves that their unmet needs are not getting met. There's a little bit of relief that comes with the next stage, with the stability stage. And remember, these are not linear. So you may go back to the power struggle stage if problems go unaddressed or trust issues or if those abandonment issues come up and they're not addressed, or if there's a feeling of rejection. But the stability phase, the anxious preoccupied will begin to understand themselves a little bit more, you a little bit more. They may recalibrate their expectations so they're a little more realistic. They may focus not just so much on their needs, but how they can meet your needs. And they don't necessarily panic or are triggered to the same anxiety whenever they feel like their needs are being unmet. They can take time, look at them and say, okay, are these expectations, are these needs reasonable? Are they being met? Am I overlooking it? They start to relax a little bit about the partner whenever they need more space to maybe self-regulate. So they get better at self-regulating and not having to constantly only just co-regulate. They're able to do that a little bit better on their own. They begin to communicate a little bit better. They begin to understand your needs a little bit better and make more efforts to make sure that they're meeting your needs. And they also get to the place where they're able to enjoy a little bit more time away from you and give you back a little bit more of your independence without them feeling anxious about that. As usual, in the commitment stage, they get to a place where they fully choose you all the time. They get to a place where they understand your shortcomings, they understand their shortcomings, and they're a little bit better adapt to deal with it, and they accept you for who you are. So they're not constantly trying to change you or fix you or push you into becoming something that feels good to them. They accept you for who you are, and they make a conscious choice to choose you regardless of that. and regardless of any flaws that you may have that would in the past scare them for fear of rejection or abandonment. The resistance is kind of gone and you're more in a mode of just peace and stability. And like everybody in the final stage of bliss, they've reached a point where they have a deeper meaning of the relationship. They have a deeper meaning of you and themselves, and they're ready to give back and take the relationship outside of themselves. If you are an anxious preoccupied and you're struggling through any of these stages, especially the power struggle, where a lot of individuals really struggle to reframe their thoughts and not be so hypervigilant and get past the fears of rejection and abandonment, give me a call. This is something we can work on. It is possible to overcome it and become securely attached.